Hello my friends, it's Andre here again for you. Let me just mute the music here. I don't know how to do that automatically, I have to always do it manually. Alright, so it's me here again, and we're gonna continue this time of what we've been doing last week, and that is update the Kentico Advantage site to a new version of the Gatsby source plugin for Kentico content. Now last time I did an unfortunate thing, and I started, in the middle of a stream, I started updating all the packages, and because this website is about 2 years, could be about 2 years that it was untouched, that took a bit of time. So today I think that the update is all finished, but I didn't do anything else than that. So I saved all the goodies for the stream. So that's what I want to do today. Let me just okay, I'm just gonna create a new window here so that we don't have the YouTube stuff on there. Let me just move that around here. Cool. So so this is the repository. This is actually a fork of the original repository to make sure that I don't break something, because the other repository is normally buildable. It usually takes the data, builds the site, and I think it's exposed via GitHub pages. So that's how it works currently. So I don't want to accidentally push into that. But I already have my local copy here, which is currently updated. So if we look at the package JSON, we should see some good stuff, mainly around the Gatsby. Oh, here it is, Kentico Gatsby source content. So this is the newest plugin. That's the plugin that enables incremental builds, that enables previews and other things, and it's also the fastest Gatsby plugin ever. So that sounds very good. But how hard it is to actually migrate from a really old version of the plugin to this new one? Now, last time I wasn't even able to build the site, but I was able to get into the Graphql Explorer. So let's try to do it today. And how I'll be starting is I just want to get the page up and running. I always start with the index page. The index page has a few components there. Let me just open the code here as well. So we see what we're talking about. I think I did some work in between, so I might need to make the screen a little bit bigger. Maybe like this. Hopefully that's more visible. And we do see the Kentico Advantage here, so we should be able to look at the components. Right. So the main page, or the index page, I think this is not one of those. I think it's in pages, so that's the index.js, but we could also start with 404. So the 404 also uses layout, so we need to get the menu up and running, but otherwise I think the 404 page is actually a good case. But I'm not sure if that actually works on local. So sometimes on localhost, oh, here we go, there are some errors here. He's trying to build a bundle. So sometimes on your local, the 404 page displays the generated pages by Gatsby, so it's not really your 404 page, so we might not use that. But let's take a look at the index page. Let me uncomment the layout here. I want that to start working. So you have Jumbotron here, teaser here. We got the project phases, which are not imported, so that should not be any problem. But we still need to get the layout fixed, so let's take a look. Layout, here it is. Yeah, I think that this is where we were last time. So there is a right bar. So there's a bunch of styles. I'm not sure how about you guys, but I'm not really a fan of adding these styles directly in these files. I'm more of a single minimized CSS file kind of guy. And I prefer to have my templates elsewhere than my implementation. But this site, I actually built this site, and I built it 2 years ago when I had no idea how Gatsby works. So I just saw this in some kind of tutorial, so I decided to do it like this. Not really ideal, but whatever. So here we have the layout. There are some icons here. Nothing that requires any data. So that's the helmet. Then we have the global style. And this is where the fun starts. So mobile bar, large bar, and the menu. So I commented out the menu for now. But let's see, he still doesn't like it. He's still building development bundle. That takes quite a bit of time. Oh, okay. So layout is not defined. That's because I uncommented it. And I did not import it again, I think. Yeah. So let's fix that. Import layout from is it under temp or components, I think. Layout, here it is. All right. So that should get rid of this error. And we can fix these things. So now look at the menu. I think it's still referenced from somewhere, but we can fix it. Okay, here we go. And I think that this is what we looked at the last time. There was no system ID, but let's take a look. I think the Graphql Explorer should work, so let's try to open it. I think Gatsby is 8,000. Yeah, okay, so this seems to work. This is actually the same query as I needed to fix the last time. Yeah. So let's take a look what was the problem here. So cannot query field all content item navigation item on type query. Okay, so what do we have here? All file, site, directory, site plugin. No, that's not what I'm looking for. So maybe all content item. Oh, here, okay. Now why would I do it this way when I have the nice Explorer here, right? So all content item, nodes. So I'm looking for all content item navigation items. So I'm looking for all content items of a specific type. And I think this is one of the cases that was not available anymore. So let me fix that, or check how to fix that. So GitHub Gatsby content source plugin. Let's see. So this is the monorepo. And here we are looking for Gatsby source content plugin. And we're looking for upgrading. Where is the link? There was a link for upgrading. I'm sure about that. Here it is. So we're looking for all content items of a specific type. So I think that was somewhere. Type endpoint. No. Reverse link, type endpoint, include types. No, that's not what I want. Okay, so it seems it should be there still. All right, so we have the all content item. Let's see what we have in here. So I'm just gonna copy this in a text file here, just so we have the original stored somewhere. I'm just gonna delete this, and let's take a look at all content item nodes, and we are looking for type of every node. So let's see what we have. Okay, so this is empty. How is this empty? How is this thing empty? Let's check if we have the project ID correctly set here. So we're looking for Gatsby config and Gatsby source content. Project ID is correct and language code names. We don't have the authorization key. I'm wondering if this actually could have an impact. So let's make this false for now. Let's refresh this. Nope, still nothing here. Okay, total count of all content items is 0. So clearly I'm doing something wrong here. So let's take a look, let's take a step back here and try to see if this is correct. So we're resolving the Gatsby. Let me just put this on the right side and this one on the left. So we're resolving, okay, let's make this a bit smaller. Resolving Gatsby source content, options, project ID, and there is the project ID. Language code names is default. Okay, now let's check if we actually have the data in there. So we would go to deliver Kentico content AI slash the project ID and slash items. Cool, so we have the data in here. Language is default, so that is correct. Let's remove this. And we have the exact same thing as in the documentation. Okay, there's one extra comma here. That shouldn't have any effect. ID options, resolve. Okay, that should be good. Let's try to rebuild this. Or if you guys see anything that I'm doing wrong, let me know. But this works. This is the same, I hope. Module exports, plugins, resolve, yeah, that is good. Building development bundle. Cannot create field elements. Yeah, this is fine. This is still from the old GraphQL query. Okay, it can't create the bundle. That's fine. We just want the GraphQL. Oh, here we go. This looks much better. So I don't know what was wrong there, but it works now. So that's the important part. What's the total count? 77. Okay, that sounds good. So what we want is essentially all content. Okay, let's take a look here. So we want all content item, navigation item. So all content item, we're gonna filter that based on the type that should be navigation item. But obviously I don't know exactly how that is called. So let me see, phase link. Phase scenario link. I think that might be navigation item, this one here. So let's see, what's the total count is 17. Okay, that sounds good. So let's see, what else do we have here? So you want all the navigation items, or actually we want just the first one. So the URL element should equal the tilde sign. So we're looking for nodes. Or is that another filter here, maybe? No groups. Okay. Let's see. How do we do that here? So we can't really go into elements here yet. So let's see. Okay, let's do the type. Type is always navigation item. That makes sense. So I'm wondering if we can do. Oh, here it is. Look at that. So content item, navigation item. That's what we want. Oh. But I wanna filter based on that. I wanna filter based on, was it custom URL? That was just URL. Let's take a look at what we get here. So we got a lot of items here, and we're interested only in this one. Only in this one, because everything else is on underneath. And we do have the child items here. And if we get the value, okay, we can drill down, that's fine. So the only thing we need is here to filter not only based on system, but based on the element URL. So how can we do that? That's the question. So we're doing filter system type. So what if we did system? Can I actually filter on these things? No, we can't do that. Okay. Okay, so of type content item connection unknown argument filter. Okay. If you guys have any idea how to do this, let me know in the chat. But I have to somehow change this query. Filter. How do we add multiple filters in the Graphql? Let me see. Multiple fields, yes. Okay, now this is not what I want. Okay, so maybe if we do it on multiple rows, it will work. So filter. First one is system. Type equals navigation item, and then we want to look at, okay, so from nodes we want to look at elements. URL equals the tilde sign. Okay, he doesn't like it. Field elements is not defined by content item filter input. Okay, that makes sense. So how do we filter it then? But maybe what we could do is we could take a look at, so let me see what we need to do in the code here. So we're doing a lot of stuff in the menu. Where is the menu component? Here it is. All right, so what we're doing is we're basically taking the main navigation item that has the tilde sign, and then we're looking at its children and their children. And then we're mapping it. See, there is a menu. So this is the first element, and we're mapping its child nodes. And building a menu based on that. which I assume, oh, here it is. So we're building the UL menu here using the child items, and the child items is based on the children of the top level elements. So we can change this implementation actually, but we need to know here where are the child items in the hierarchy. So we got the URL here. Let me add some additional info here. So we also want the custom URL. We probably want the content item. Let's see. Okay, custom URL. Let's see the GraphQL query again. So we're looking for title and for content item and for child items. Okay, so the content item actually links phases, so that this is actual content, while this is only another link. So what we want here, from the content item navigation item, we want the title. Okay, so this is what the menu is essentially composed of. We want the URL. Okay. And we want the child items. So here it's empty, 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 so on. But here we actually do have some children. So that's the developing. Let me see how the main menu looks like. So advantage.candyco.com is the website. So we got project phases here and conclusion. Those should be somewhere over here. So conclusion. And project phases. Here we go. So for each item, we also need an ID. See, so we got deploying for CFC is deploying, and that's exactly here. So essentially, we will need to use this simplified GraphQL query, and we'll need to build the list, or the menu will need to build it in a different way. But this should work. I think this is fine. So I'm just going to take this and put it here. I'll make it a bit nicer. Like this. And then we are looking for all content item phase, because we're looking for children of those items, of those navigation items. So here under developing, we are probably looking for content item and its value. Let's see, content item, and here we got an ID of the content item. And the content item should always be of type phase. So let's take a look. We can also include it in the GraphQL query should there be something else. But I think here it's phase exclusively. You see, it's always phase. Phase, 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 phase. But we can leave it there. So if it's not, when it's not a phase, it will throw an error. Okay, so this is the most current version. Okay, now you see there's also one additional change. So you see there is a lot of underscores. So in the previous version of the plugin, there used to be this used to be camel case, while now there are underscores. So if you need to change some of the queries, this is definitely something to pay attention to. So that's the first part, and the second part, we're gonna need all content item phase. So we're gonna fix this to equal phase. Gonna remove these things. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so not content item navigation, but content item phase. And let's see what we want from the phase. We want the system ID, obviously, because we need to pair it somehow. And we need the subphase's system ID. So the phase ID. And in case there are children of type phase, we want their ID. So let's see. So we got nodes. There is an ID here. Let's see if there are any subphases. There doesn't seem to be any subphases. But maybe it's a different field. Let me see. Oh, there it is. So it's actually not under children, but it's under elements and subphases. All right, so this is empty. There are some IDs here and so on. So this is what we want. Okay, so this ends this query, this ends this query, so this should be a bit more to the left. Oh, I hate these extra spaces here. Okay, so now we got the menu query defined. Okay, on layout, menus defined but never used, blah, blah, blah. Cannot query field query on type query. Okay, my mistake. So we got one extra bracket here. Okay. Oh, a lot of issues, but here we go. Fields, all content items conflict because they have differing arguments. All content item. Oh, okay. That's fair. So I got two all content items fields here. Different aliases on the fields to fetch both if it was intentional. Okay, how do we use GraphQL query aliases? Okay, here we go. Oh, we just add alias and a column there. So we could say that this one is navigation items. And we could say this is phases. Okay, template phase, blah, blah, blah. But there is no error on the menu, which sounds good. That sounds good. Let's see if it actually builds. Nope, still not building. That's on breadcrumbs. Okay. Let's see how the layout and the index page actually look like. So we're probably gonna have to test or fix everything else, but let's see. So what's uncommon? The menu here. And let's find the breadcrumbs. Where are the breadcrumbs? Right bar, large bar, mobile bar. These things are just style stuff. Nothing should be getting any data from anywhere. All right, so that's the menus here, the layouts here. Right bar, children. I think the breadcrumbs could be in the right bar. Right bar container, children. Yeah. And on the index page, we have the Jumbotron here. Let's take a look at Jumbotron. And Jumbotron homepage section. Section. I don't see any breadcrumbs here. Just check section and teaser. Let's take a look at the original site. There is no breadcrumbs here. But okay, let's make the index page as small as possible. So I'm just gonna have the layout here. Let's do it this way then. So we got only the layout. Let's put here hello world. Still doesn't like it. Still breadcrumbs. Okay, so it won't compile until I fix all these issues. All right. So let's say return hello world, and we're gonna comment everything else. Was it this way, or what was the syntax? Okay, let me just static query, render, a lot of stuff here. Okay. So those are breadcrumbs. Then we got the next pref buttons and project phases. Okay. Next previous buttons. And just comment everything else. Project phases. Okay, see, I'm way too fast for Visual Studio. All right, now let's comment this as well. And breadcrumbs. Page.js, templates, page.js. This is page template, and the layout will go by. Oh, here we go, rebuilding development bundle. Still, face.js. Okay, that's and yet another template. Okay, we're just gonna comment this out till the end of the return, and we're gonna return this is face page. Still doesn't like page.js for some reason. Let's try to run it again. You know, but this way we're going back to the old PHP days when we would just comment everything and then put there echo something and die, and would just go, you know, statement after statement to see where the problem is. So that's how I'm kind of feeling right now. But I understand it's needed for the build, so that's fine. Still issue, cannot query fields, field elements. And which file? Tell me which file. Is it face? 170. Oh yeah, he's not liking this. But that's fine. Just gonna comment it out. No need for Graphql query here. Okay, it seems like the red goes slowly away. And maybe we're gonna see the site today. But still nothing here. I think it just takes a bit longer. Let's try it again. Okay, there's still an issue here. What's the file? Page.js. Page.js. Okay, show me what's in Page.js. Oh, here it is. One forgotten GraphQL query. Okay. Yep, that should work. Let's try it again. Looks like developer said it's already running. Yeah. Try again in 5 seconds. Okay, that was 5 seconds, hopefully. So this should get a little bit better next week. So I just ordered a graphics card for OBS. So hopefully it will arrive soon. And next week this will be much faster. But right now, this is quite small Gatsby site, to be honest. So it shouldn't take that long. But I blame my computer. Here we go. Localhost 8000. Show me the site. Show me the site. No more red messages. Oh, here we go. Can I read property edges of undefined? Now this is fine. This is because I changed the GraphQL query on the menu. So this is just telling me, hey, there is nothing there. Which is good. So let's take a look at that menu now. So finally this compiles. And this starts to be a problem. So render, I assume render, where does this end? Oh, this is the end of map. Okay. So the render returns this HTML and the menu. So if we comment this out, I think this is assigned to menu, right? Yeah, of course. So if we comment this out and say that menu equals hello world, we should see hello world here. Here we go. So can take advantage here. Hello world here. Nice powered by content. Perfect. So this is working well. So we're finally getting somewhere. All right. Now we need to figure out how to do the same thing as this code did. So first of all, we're gonna do a menu here, but we're gonna need to build the structure based on these data. So I assume that the navigation items, let's try it this way. So data dot navigation items, that should have all the navigation items nodes. Let's try to do one thing here to see if I'm actually right. Objects are not valid as React childs. If you meant render a collection, children use an array instead. Okay, he's not liking something. But look at this. I think that's because I mapped it in on menu, and the menu is defined here. All right, so let's call this menu items. But I'm not gonna save it just yet because it's actually correctly rendered here. So we got 17 nodes here. So we're definitely looking for nodes. And here we are looking actually, so let me filter this. Based on node. So we're looking for the first level items. So the first level items are what's here on the menu, right? So there's the project phases and conclusion. So these are the direct children of the root. And when we look at how it looks like here. Oh, I already rewrote that. So let's gonna have to do with the console here. So we are looking for the content navigation items. So we could take the one. So the main navigation item, root item, let's call it, would be data navigation items, nodes, and how do I get just one? Let me see. I always Google for this. I never remember it by heart. Let's take a look at one great article here. JavaScript array. This one. Oh, network changed. So what we want is get just one item off the list. No, we don't want sorting. Oops, that's way too far away. So so find returns only one object. All right, so that's what we want. Array find. So find one where the element ID, element's URL is actually the tilde sign. Take a look what's here. Testing. Oh, here it is. So URL should be the tilde sign. So it should be .elements.url equals tilde. Okay, so that should give us our root item. Now the menu items, or the first, let's call that first level, would be data navigation items nodes, but we actually want the child items of this one. So we're looking for all the nodes where their ID, so every navigation item has an ID here. So this ID should be under the root here, under child elements. So we're looking for elements and child elements. So where NID, how do we do array in? So that's this thing. So cars filter. So NID exists. Do you have something like exists here? Shift. No, not here. So let's see. JavaScript exists. Includes some. Includes. I think includes is what I'm looking for. So nodes that include so we're looking for root item elements. I think we're looking for that root item. That's this one, elements, child items, and there's in the value there's the array. Oh, but this is actually okay. We have to actually So it would be nice if we could resolve this somehow. Or if we could map it somehow. So I'm wondering if there is a way how to, so JavaScript, flat to hierarchy. If there is something that we could use, some kind of algorithm. Okay, so this one actually creates a new object based on the ID of the item, which doesn't sound like a bad idea. So let's try it. So let navigation items equal an object, and then we say for each of the items we add it here. So let's say we would say navigation items based on the item ID. So we're looking at the first node, and there is the ID right here. Equals item. So let's say, let me comment this out for a moment. Let's see what we have here. Navigation items. So let's clear this. Failed to compile. All right. Menu is not defined. Yeah, sorry. Let's do it this way for now. Navigation items for each is not a function. How come? Oh, because I forgot nodes. Okay, here we go. Okay, we've got hello world here. Let's see what we have here. All right. So it seems this works. We have all the navigation items ordered by their IDs, which is nice. So now it's just a matter of finding the one that's on the root. So this is the code that does exactly that. And then we can say root item dot so how do we do it here? So we're mapping the items, then we're building the menu. Okay, so we can say root item children. So we got elements and child items, so we can say children equal root item so basically for every children, root item elements child items value, and I need to find one that actually has some. Oh, here we go. So value, this is an array of 2 objects, so 0 and ID. So this is the array, so we can say map item, and we want to get navigation items i.id. Okay, let's take a look. Can I read property elements of undefined? All right. How is root item undefined? Elements, URL. Oh, this is developing. Okay, this is different item then. I'm just trying to find the root here to verify the element is there. Child items 2. URL is gathering, so that's also not the right one. Planning. Conclusion. Maintaining. Okay, here we go. Root. So we're looking for elements, URL, and value. Elements, URL. Okay, so dot value. I'm missing dot value here. Let's see. Okay, that seems to work. So here we should have the root, and children should be two navigation items with those elements. Nice. So that's what I want here. And now I want to do the same thing for these two, but I don't actually need the whole item for now. But let's keep it there for now. So root element children, we could do the same. Root item children. So for each of these, so this is the second level item. Let's call this I. For these, we want to do the same thing as with root. So I, elements, child items, value map. We need something else, J. Oh, this is not ideal. Let's call this one menu item. Menu item elements child items, and these would be sub menu item. So this menu item, we actually want to assign here. So menu item children would be menu item elements child items value map sub menu items, and we're looking again for navigation items and the ID sub menu item ID. This is the end of the for each. Now let's take a look if this works. It's a bit of a recursion. Let me just clear this and do this again. But it seems to work, so let's see. Okay, so we got the root here. We got two children here. All right, so the first child is content navigation item that is called project phases. Second one is called conclusion. Child items is nothing, but the content item is linked here. So that's what we wanted. And the rest should be here. So this is project phases, and we got 6 children starting with gathering. Okay. So that's what we want actually. Now let's focus on building the menu. So this is actually the link to the phase. I'm just wondering how we did this in the first place. Link and child items. Okay, so this is actually for building. Let me see the main website. So if you go to gathering, okay, there are no additional sub items here. Okay. So let's take a look at how the HTML looks like here. There is UL here, LE for the project phases, and then UL for each of those submenus. Okay. So we're gonna be building the menu here. Let's call it the menu. I hope this is correct. And let's say menu is the root item children map. So menu item. I don't want to map that to, actually this is going to be just LE menu item elements title value. Now let's see how this is going to look like. Okay, here we got project phases and conclusion. Perfect. And now what we want to do is we also want to do the same thing for the children of this item. So we want to check here. Let's do it this way. So if menu item children, if menu item has children, then we want to return LE element with menu item. Oh, this is actually UL, not LE. Menu item children map submenu item submenu item, and that would be LE submenu item elements title value. You know, just so that we have some text here, and end the list, and then we need to return the LE, and that's it. I think it doesn't like the syntax though. So let's say this is submenu, and we render it here. Or is it before or after? Not sure actually. But I think it's, yeah, it's after. So first is the title, then it's the UL list. So first it's the title. Oh, this is correct. and then it's the submenu if it exists. And we need to return it, of course. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, so far so good. So we got the project phases, conclusion, and everything in there. Now it's just a matter of adding the links in place. And for that, we're gonna need the phases. You see, we were getting the phases based on the ID. So we're gonna probably need to do the same thing as we did with navigation items. We're gonna do the same thing with phases. So data, and we're looking for phases, nodes for each node, phases, node.id, was it just ID? Yeah, equals node. We could use item here as well, if that's easier for someone. Then of course this is item ID. So now we got all the phases here. And let me see how this works. So we're looking for child node elements, content item, elements, URL, value. So we're looking for, the phase has its own URL. I hope we included that here. And I'm afraid we didn't. Okay, we need to fix that. Let's take a look here. We're looking for URL and value. Cool. So I'm just gonna add it here. It's one of the elements. So subphases value, it's supposed to be here, I think. Like this. And in that case, if we are here, and we are actually rendering these items, then this should be a link. Okay, let me turn on the word wrap here, because otherwise this is a bit unreadable. So this is the submenu link. So we're gonna make this one a regular link to phases, and this should be the submenu item elements. I think this is content item. Yeah, content item. And the first one, value, is that the first one? So content item is an array. So we're looking for the first item, and then we are looking for system ID, or maybe ID directly should work as well. And then in the phase, we are looking for, so by this we will look for the phase, and we're looking for the elements URL value. Let's omit the class name for now. But maybe this will require a bit more logic. So here we need the title, but the title comes out of the submenu item. Title value. This is the text, and we of course need to finish the link. Awesome. Let's take a look. Nope, cannot read property ID of undefined. So submenu item, elements, content item, that's for some reason that is null. Content item, so elements, content item, value. Okay, that's my mistake here. Content item dot value. 0 and ID is right there, so that should work now. Cool. See, we got all the links in place. So deploying, testing, developing, planning. We also need to fix the links on the top level. Yeah, that doesn't work yet. And I think those are working here. No, that's actually not a link. Only conclusion is a link. Project phases is not a link. How are we supposed to know that? That's my question. Not here yet. Oh, but this is a link. Look at that. Oh, but this is the main page. Okay. So here it's not a link. So I think this is also bound to the phase. So we could do the same thing here. Only with one exception. And I'm just thinking how we can actually wrap this in a more meaningful structure. So let me just put this to a new line so it looks a bit nicer. Okay. Submenu. So this could also be a link. So the submenu. Oh, this should be a link. Sorry, not that thing. So let's call this one item. Oh, item. I don't think we are using it anywhere globally, so this could be item. Yeah. So let item be menu item elements title value, and if menu item elements, I think this is content item value. So this, if this would be empty, this would still be an array. So if this value length is greater than 0, we could say that item is linked to phases, and we're looking for menu item elements content item value 0 dot it, and we are looking for elements URL end value, just like with the previous sample. The title would be menu item elements title value, and this would be the previous item. Yeah, I think this could work. Let's put it here, item and submenu. Nice, so this stays unclickable, so this is still just a text. These are all links, and this is a link too. You see, it goes to /conclusion. Cool, that looks promising. And I think that actually wraps up today's stream. So now the sweetest thing that I always like to do, just take the whole thing and delete it. But there is actually one thing that I totally forgot, and that is the active class name. So let's take a look at how that works, because we still need to implement that here as well. So the class name should be active in case the link is active, and the link is active. Let me see. So phase length. Subphases. Okay, so this props active page ID is the important thing. That's what we want. We need to work with. So if we're probably not going to be able to test it for now, but there is an ID of an active page. So in case, is that applied? So the class is applied to the link. Okay. So link, is that a class name? Yeah, class name. Class name equals this props active page ID equals to the face. And this is actually the second time we need something from the face. So let me just add this a little bit here. So I'm gonna extract it from here. This part. Let current face equal this thing, because we need it for class name. So if current face ID equals to, oops, was that this props, where was it? Here it is. Is active true. So this props active page ID. This props active page ID. If that is true, this is going to be active. Otherwise, this is going to be empty. 2, this is going to be current face elements URL value. Okay, so this is good for the main menu. So this is for the item. That's perfectly fine. The same thing will go for this link. So I'm just going to take this part out as well. And we're probably going to have to do it this way as well. So let current face equal this part. And then we're going to return this. Link to link class name equals current face ID equals to this props active page ID. Then it's gonna be active, otherwise it's gonna be empty. To current face elements URL value, that's fine. Now there is one extra bracket here, which is gonna be missing here. Nope. This should only encapsulate this map. And this way it should work. All right, so that's the submenu. This is the main menu, and the main menu, or the this is not gonna be that easy, because we also have to figure out on the top level, because if we go here and look for gathering, for example, and go to functional requirements, see, even though we're on a different page, this is still bold. So this should still work for the nested pages. And that works. So the subphases. Let's take a look at how that works. So if this props active page exists, and we're looking for child node elements, 1. So if that is not true, we are looking for phase for the phase, and then we're looking for all the subphases. Okay. So the current phase is not enough, at least on this level. So we don't, so this is not enough. This check is not enough. We need to do more thorough check. So if this is true, so we're gonna put here let is active equals false. If this is true, then is active is gonna be true. Otherwise, we have to check all the subphases. I'm not sure if we actually have that in the GraphQL query. Let me check. Where do we have that? Here we have it. Yeah, so we're actually looking for all the subphases with their IDs as well. So we need to check if this props active page ID. Okay, we can do OR here. Current phase elements. I think it's subphases. Yeah. Subphases dot value. So this will be all the subphases. So we're looking for, so this is an array, right? And we are looking for any subphase. Let me see if there is, oh, here it is. So these are actually objects with only one value, and that is ID. So we're looking for any, basically. Let's take a look at the FreeCodeCamp article again. Okay, this is adding stuff. Array find. Array filter, transforming stuff. Oh, here we go. So array sum, that's what we want. So array sum. Subphases sum. Subphase. Where subphase.id equals this props active page ID. Cool, and in that case it's active. And here we'll say is active, and that active, in that case active, otherwise nothing. We don't have to worry about this part because that's already on the first level of the menu, and those things don't happen on this side. Okay, what's the problem? Some subphases. Okay, I forgot about value. Subphases. Dot sum. Okay, here we go. So value. That's sum. Nice. So now obviously if I click on everything, it will go to 404 page because the page is not there yet. But whenever I click on something or go into a nested category, this link will be in bold, right? So now what I can finally do is just do the best part of every upgrade, just delete this stuff. And we are finished with the menu, I think. So get the new queries, new code, and we should be good to go. And this actually finishes today's stream as well. Let me see if there are any questions here. So I don't see any questions in the chat. So I hope you enjoyed this. You see, it's not that easy to upgrade this thing, but most of it comes out of the data complexity and the way how the menu was built. So that's partly my fault because I designed it this way. But yeah, the main thing is to get this up and running. Yeah. So we're gonna continue next time. If you enjoyed this, then join me next week, the same time. It's 3 p.m. BST, and we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue with the teaser, with the breadcrumbs, and we'll see how far we're gonna go. Hopefully, this will sometime in the future end with a nice pull request. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any input on this, let me know on Twitter, and I'll see you next week. Bye, and enjoy your weekends.